Okay, so we are in Paphos in Cyprus, and we're going to go through a quick mobility routine here on the beach. We're going to get on a flight in a few hours, so we're going to mobilize things, get ourselves moving before we start sitting on the flight for 5 hours. So first thing we're going to start with is squats, a little bit of mobility in the squat position. So you're going to sit here, just going to move around, getting into the hips, just opening them up whatever way feels comfortable. You can use the hands, little pulses. And then from here, once you've started to open the hips up, we're just going to go into squat with knee drops, alternating side to side. If you have in this squat depth, play around in the sand and elevate the heels if you need to. If not, you can use the hands out in front. We can drop one leg forward and then dropping the other leg. If not, we're just going to drop one leg at a time, sitting down deep into it. About 10 reps on each side. And you can take this whatever way you want, whatever feels good. Just open everything up in a way that works for you. Then from here, we're going to go into some squat rotations. So taking my elbow, putting it inside of my knee, and I'm going to turn and open out. Coming back down, and we're going to rep this out for 10 reps. It's really nice to open up this opposite side hip and get some nice rotation, stretching that lower back. Looking all the way up, following your hand with your eyes all the way to the ceiling. You can hold from here, you can reach over, grabbing the opposite ankle, opening up all this side here at the back. Show you from the back and the opposite side. If one side feels tighter, you can spend a little bit of extra time on it. And I'm driving this elbow here into my knee, really locking myself in and using that to actually help me turn and open up. With this hand, if you want to get a little bit of extra stretch down this oblique, this QL on this side, you can really reach up and then reaching over. You can hold here if you want. Again, just opening up this position. Last little one in this squat position. We're going to sit in our squat, we're going to drop our knees over the toes to the floor, come back, opening up a little bit of stretch in the toes. Again, you can use some hands here in front if you want to help keep you balanced and take a little bit of the load. Just getting everything opened up, really rocking back into it, sitting down deep into the hip, dropping forward, sit down deep, drop forward. Okay. We're going to come up a little bit more to standing now. First now we're going to start opening up the back of the hips. So my feet are hip width apart. Heels are floating off the floor. From here I want to screw my feet into the floor so my knees are opening out. Getting this nice opening on the ankle. Arches are high. Sitting my hips back. Feel a little bit of tension and pressure come here on the glutes. From here then, I'm just going to pulse. Keeping that constant pressure on the back. Heels floating, feet screwed into the floor. And getting some nice opening on the back part of this hip here, opening up the posterior capsule all the time, making sure those knees are staying facing out, feet are screwed into the floor. And we're going to go for about 30 reps here. Keeping nice and tall in the chest and the sternum, keep it facing forward. Keep that constant tension, we don't want to come out of it and lose it here. You're probably going to feel a little bit of fatigue in this lower back as well, but that's absolutely fine. Okay, another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From here, we're going to come down to the floor. I'm keeping my heels floating, but you can drop them to the floor if you want. And from here now, we're just going to be in this forward fold position, alternating side to side. So one leg is bending, the other straightening, and I'm just opening up my hips on each side. Allowing them to turn and swivel. Feel that lower back rotate and twist. Again, we should have some nice tension here in the back of the hips, maybe even a little bit into the hamstrings. Let the head relax as well. Really open up that whole back chain. If that's feeling good for you, you can take the hands, wrap it behind here and just pulling ourselves down. Okay, and then we're slowly going to make our way back up. Now we're going to go into the hip flexors here at the front. So some split squats. Going to squeeze the glute on the back here. Chest is nice and tall, dropping down into it. In this back position, I'm driving my foot into the sand, push out, and I'm pulsing out. So we're just going to pulse in this bottom position, keep the squeeze here, nice and strong through the core, that we're not dumping it all into the lower back. And just pulsing here, really feeling that opening up. What you can also do in this position, and what I like to do, if we switch sides, squeeze on the glute. If it feels good, then we can start to reach back in this direction. So as I send my hips forward, I'm giving a little rotation in the opposite direction. It's going to get us some nice opening here on the front of this hip flexor, right deep into that psoas. But make sure that you keep a squeeze on the lower back. We want to feel most of that load come through the front of the hip flexor. We don't want too much dumping into the lower back, so really turning with that chest, reaching back as we pulse. This one feels really nice. As much as you can, try keep your load in this back leg. That's going to really load up the hip flexor. We can spread that load evenly, but over time push more and more into this back leg. Leaning back into it, very light on this front one. Feels really nice on the hip flexors. So just shake it out for a minute or two. Now we're going to start opening up hamstrings, a little bit of the adductors, inner groins. So we're going to dig our feet into the sand, and I'm just going to send my hips back, standing pancakes. If that's a little bit too much for you, it's too much intensity on the backs of the legs and the hamstrings, we can put the hands on the floor, and again, just pulsing in this position. Kind of like ballistic stretching almost. We're just finding that end range and pulsing, okay? So I'm really thinking of sending those hips backwards. So I'm sitting my hips back behind me, pushing back and really trying to feel that load into the heels on both legs. Okay, again, I'm trying to keep that chest up, push the hips back. Nice flat back in this position. It's fine if we round, so absolutely okay. But really try to lock it in here to the upper hamstrings, into the adductors as well. And just pulse in here. Okay, another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then we're going to come down onto the sand. From here I'm going to reach front leg forward into this low lunge position, and from here I'm squeezing the glute, getting another little stretch on this anterior capsule, turning into it. Again, just pulsing, opening up, squeezing this back glute. From here then we can switch to the front leg, start to drop it out to the side, starting to open up this outer hip here. A little bit of external rotation. And again, just playing around with it. You're on the beach in Cyprus in the sun, so just play around with it. We don't need to be strict with sets and reps, just do what feels good. Switching sides. Wow. Again, I'm squeezing my glute here, pulsing in. It's really nice as well. Use this hand on the knee here, kind of prise yourself in and give a little bit of rotation. Okay, and then dropping into the front leg, heavy on the heel. Try drive this front foot into the floor. Feel some nice opening on the outside of that hip. Okay. Okay. Then finally we're going to go into a little bit of stuff on the ground. So we're going to go into some push-ups with a little bit of rotation. So I'm stepping one leg forward, I'm turning into this side. Stepping back, and I'm turning into the opposite side. So I'm pushing back, dropping forward into it. Dropping forward into it. Dropping forward into it. Little rotation, thinking of elbow to knee. Trying to get long on one side, short on the other. Okay, coming back up. We're going to do some traveling. A little bit of locomotion work on the floor. First one, I think they're called ape crawls or something like that. Going to reach forward and jump. Reach forward and jump. And you can get some speed if you're comfortable with it. Moving all the way down. Then all the way back. Down nice and deep into the hips. We're after opening up that range. We're going to come down into this lunge position. I'm going to step my leg forward and sit down into the front, stretching the hamstrings. Opposite hand, foot steps through. Opposite hand, foot steps through. Opposite hand, footsteps through. Sitting down as deep as you can. If you're struggling in this position, you can still keep the knee bent. Just sit into like a little hamstring stretch on that side. But just open up what feels good for you. Okay, last one then. We're gonna step into a Cossack. Coming back up, stepping across, turn, sit into a Cossack on the opposite side. Back up, cross, Cossack on the opposite side. All the time, moving forward, sitting down. What you can also do from here, that as I push back up, I can get down low, twist, and then sit into a Cossack on this side. Step it in, behind, low, Cossack. And that's it. We open up the lower body. We're ready to go to the airport, getting a flight, mobilize things. We're after hitting all different areas of the hip. We're after getting some grounding on the sand. Beautiful sunshine and ocean in the back. And we're ready to go. We're ready to go back to cold Ireland, but we're looking forward to Christmas. Give this a shot. On the beach, anywhere at all. No equipment needed. Get after it. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel as well. There's going to be much more content, much more follow along videos, different exercises, different techniques and sessions that you can use either in the gym or on the travels to help you start moving with less effort, less pain, greater efficiency. That's it. Let's go.